Hello, bakers out there. This is Mark Florka, your Baked at Science podcast host, and I'm at IBA 2023, and I'm here with Arnaud Dubat and Andrew McGee of KPM Analytics, and we're going to learn a bit about the equipment that they have on offer here at IBA 2023. And you are in Hall C1 and booth 320, correct?
Correct.
Great. Make sure we send everybody to the right place.
We'll see you there.
All right, excellent. So, Arnaud, you want to take us through some examples of what you would like to show people out there, that your highlights of the booth here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, follow me. Can you go there?
So we have here a Mixolab.
Yes, we do have a Mixolab. But maybe before speaking about the device itself, maybe it's interesting to speak about the strategy that we are developing at KPM.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because, for years, we have seen the quality control as filling books with numbers and hoping these numbers will help us having the right product at the right place at the right time. We came out to the conclusion and to the observation that this traditional way is not really working. We made a survey, and 96% of the bakers we have been meeting, they said that despite specification, they continue experiencing from time to time issues with the flour quality.
Yeah.
So the idea we have, and that's something unique that KPM can offer, is to reverse the way we are looking at it. In fact, we are going to learn from the process. We are not going to guess what is good for you. We are going to learn. And
Perfect.
This is done in 3 steps.
Okay.
The first one will be to analyze what is a good product. And for that, Andrew will show us how we're going to look with the vision system about the product performance and characteristics and what we can do with that. And then, when we understand what is good and the target is well identified, we can use the Mixolab in 2 ways. We can use it for analyzing dough. We can sample the dough from the process, and we can put numbers of what's happening in the process. You know, bakers, you're a baker, so you know how to touch the dough.
Yes,
you know your dough.
Yeah.
But this expertise is slowly getting out. Of
Yes,
the
and it's
company.
hard to transfer those tactile skills.
Exactly. So that's where we are coming. We are helping the bakers put numbers on this expertise and keep going on. Once we know what is a good dough making a good product, then we can also use the Mixolab for analyzing flour. So then you can make the link with good product, good dough, good flour, and this is what you're going to put into your specification. It doesn't come from the blue, it comes from your process, and that's really what fits your needs.
Yep.
So that's something we are very excited about that, and we are very proud because KPM is the only company able to have all these systems going from vision, dough analysis, and flour analysis.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's excellent.
Okay, Andrew McGee is now going to take us through something really innovative that KPM has, and this is part of your vision system, is it?
Correct, exactly. So what we have here is an online inspection system, which is going to look at all the products coming off the production line. And we're using color cameras, 3D cameras, and a lower color camera so that we can inspect the top, the bottom, and also measure the height of the product.
Wow.
And we can measure a lot of attributes. So we can measure bake color, we can measure seed coverage, we can measure topping, we can see if there's a split. We can look for the bottom to make sure that there's no contaminants on the bottom. We
Excellent.
can measure the bake color. And all these physical properties that we're measuring are a result of the baking process. And obviously, Arnaud started at the beginning, which is looking at the flour and the ingredients and the raw material. But this gives us an objective way to measure, because if Mark's looking at a product, he might say it's great, and Andrew might say, that's a little dark for me, that's a little light for me. So we're trying to take a little bit of the subjectivity out of it and have a very objective measurement so that our customers can get a really consistent product from their equipment, and the end user can be satisfied. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So here we're using, as I say, color cameras, and I can open this up and show you. So we are using a color camera looking at the product moving along the conveyor. This is where, if you can see that gap there, Mark, this is where the camera from below is looking up through that gap, and as the product goes across that gap, the camera below is grabbing 1 row of pixels at a time to look at the product and putting together a total image. And as I say, we can do a very detailed analysis.
Wow.
And the cameras are high resolution, so you can see very small defects, and you can also measure very accurately. So you can have an accuracy of 0.1, 0.2 millimeters, which of course is excellent if you're flying to the moon, because you don't want to miss the moon. But it's also very good as far as, getting a very consistent
fantastic.
product.
Yeah, that is excellent.
And then let me show you now, we have the same technology, but in a more portable and a smaller unit that can be used what we call at line or beside a production line, or in an R&D lab or in a QC lab.
Perfect.
So this allows us to actually run product by product through a system which is using the same technology, color camera, 3D camera, to be able to measure the height of the product, the shape of the product, the bake color of the product, and give you some objective measurements of that. And over a day, you might do multiple samplings, and then the data can be all collated together, put together a report by sampling, by total product, by total batch. And it's a very powerful tool indeed. And it's very simple. I can put the bun or whatever the product is on the scale, get a measurement, press a button here, and I'm going to get the weight going into the database.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then I can actually put the product through the system, and I can put one after another.
Oh wow! Fantastic.
And measure them.
Yeah.
And you can see here, I actually have the measurements for those products. So here I have the minimum diameter, the maximum diameter, and the mean diameter. But like...
In seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what's most important is, Paul, we want to focus on the attributes of the product that are important to the end user. We can measure lots of things, but unless it really makes a difference to the quality of the product or the satisfaction of the customer, let's just focus on what's important.
Yes.
So maybe it's bake color, maybe it's product type, maybe it's topping. So again, we have this information that we're collecting, we collect a lot of statistics about it, and then we can actually share that information with our R&D team, our QC team, and even if we want to, with our customer as well, to show them that we have a process in control and we're producing a very quality product.
So you mentioned topping. Can this count, like how much of
Absolutely. So on a sesame seeded product like this
one,
we can put that through, and we can actually count. What we're doing there is measuring the surface area of the product that's covered with a seed, but we're also measuring how well it's distributed across the bun, because you might have the right amount of seed, but it might all be on one side, and that's not what we're looking for. And the online system does the same thing as well. You can set parameters to make sure that the product is consistent, that the distribution is good, and that you have enough seed on the product, or that if the seed has got blocked, there's no seed on the product, oops, hold on, there's an alert, somebody sees it, the product is rejected.
Before you have 10,000 buns that are going in the garbage.
Exactly, that's right, you end up with the whole production.
Oh yeah, I've baked for the dumpster sometimes.
I think unfortunately we all have. So it's a very, very powerful tool, but again, focusing on the important things to your customers will make sure that you really are. And the good thing is, when we talk about volume, when we talk about how round the product is, all these things start at the beginning when we're looking at our flour and our ingredients, because if the dough is extensible and it's laying down and giving you a nice round product, that's the start. We can see here when it goes wrong, but that's 4 hours later. So we need to go to the beginning and make sure that we start with the foundations, and then here what we're doing is just validating it. But another powerful tool of the vision system is it allows you to correlate the measurements of the product with the different processes in the line. So I start with a product here, this is great, fantastic. Okay, what was the oven set at? How long was the bake time? What was the proofer set at? What was the humidity? So that as this product went through, we know all the settings from different parts of the line, and we can correlate that data and say, okay, this is a recipe for making a good product. All these components, the raw material, the ingredients, the flour, and then the processes steps in
That
between.
is incredible. Yeah, and going back to thinking about the seeds, as you mentioned on as far as the topping, the large, first of all, it's like the large fast food chains. They have a lot of very strict types of standards that they want to achieve. Distribution is a great one that you mentioned, but not only that. I think back to 35, 40 years ago when I was sort of still new in the industry, and here in Germany especially, it would have been accepted as oh, the baker was in a bad mood today, things aren't as good, and the customer would accept that. Today we don't have that same type of flexible acceptance from the consumer anymore. Consumer goes to, whether it be directly to the baker or to the store, they expect it to be the same every single time that they put their money on the counter, right?
Absolutely.
And they deserve to have that, right?
Absolutely.
And I remember being, this reminds me also, this could also be used for cookies and so many other things.
Exactly, all range of baked.
I remember being at a cookie manufacturer who couldn't put the chunks through their system with so they had 4 people standing beside the line putting chocolate chunks on the cookies. Now, how do you measure whether they're getting a good distribution and the equal amount on every one?
You might have
this would be phenomenal.
You might have the right number in there, but if they're not well distributed, or if they're hidden inside the dough,
Yeah.
that's not really what the customer's after.
Yeah.
If you want to just have a look here, this is how we can see. This is an image. I don't know whether you'll see it. It's a very dark image, but this is the image of the product without that we had there with the sesame seed, and you can see the seeds there. And so you can see here the machine.
Got it, yeah.
The machine is identifying based on the colors where the seed is, and then it's measuring the surface area of that. So if I click on here, you can see topping quantity, 24.3% of the surface is covered with sesame seeds. So we could have a parameter based on that.
Yeah.
But then evenness is here. We break it up into quadrants, and we can do it any way you like.
Yeah.
We break it in quadrants and giving you the distribution of that sesame seed in those quadrants. So you can see some of the variation here. One quadrant has only got 8.2% coverage, whereas another one has 29.9%.
Wow.
So this one's relatively uneven, but maybe that's acceptable. But again, you can define that and
Absolutely,
and monitor it accordingly.
I mean, some people want a certain consistent inconsistency to make it look artisan
and
as
actually,
well.
And actually, that's a good point because, McDonald's is looking for, we'll call it pucks, the same one every time, always the same color. But there's a whole range of products out there, especially in Europe, where you're looking for some artisan nature, some artisan feel to the product. So we call it, a range of variability, but within certain limits, so that it can still go into the packaging, so it can still go through the line. So you're looking for some natural variability, and again, adopting artificial intelligence is one way that we can do that. All these shapes that are artisan, we can specify these are all acceptable shapes and this one's not. Or this is the maximum dimension that we can have, so that it can still function on your line. So again, it's a very powerful technology that really can help for us to produce a more consistent product for our customers.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Andrew. This has been really informative and super interesting at the same time. Right?
All right, there you have it. Arnaud Dubat and Andrew McGee from KPM. This was very informative. Thank you very much. This is Mark Flurker, your Baked in Science podcast host at IBA 2023. We'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.
Thanks a lot.